Hi, welcome to the October 2016 Houston Clutter Coaching Meetup Group. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
We're in Houston, Texas today at the Healing Collective, which is a wonderful place to take great classes. Look it up if you're in the area. I am Gayle Goddard, and I'm a professional organizer. My business is the Clutter Fairy, and I do this for a living, which is why I get up here and talk, because I want to pass along as much knowledge as I can, and so this is how I do it. So today is the topic about the holidays, Uncluttered for the holidays. It's that time of year, right? And we're about this far away from Halloween, which triggers the rush to the end of the year and all of the things that happen between now and then, right? It's that fall festival / everything season. And I just saw a meme go by on Facebook yesterday that was a picture of between like the beginning of November and the middle of January, there's 29 major holidays across 7 religions. And so there's a reason why we think of this as the party season, because everybody's partying no matter what they're doing, right? So this is the time of year to talk about what it's like to be overwhelmed about the holidays and how to declutter your stuff, your process, your parties, your events, your house, your life, hopefully your mind, about the holidays. Most people find it really stressful, and you get to a certain point where you're desperately trying to execute all the things that you've been doing every Christmas season. Christmas is my holiday, so I'll talk in that vein, but I know everybody has some holiday with a bunch of traditions around it, and when you have little kids, you spend a lot of time executing the perfect holiday magic for the kids. And we all loved it, right? It's great food, and you get presents, and there's visits, and there's fun events and parties, and you don't realize as a little kid how much effort goes into it being magical for you. Right? You just think it's fabulous, right? You don't realize your mother's exhausted and your dad is making, a bicycle at 3 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve, right? So you don't have any idea how much effort's going into it. So we sort of get used to the magic, and we don't really realize what it takes to execute it. And then you get to be a grown-up and you have your own kids and you're trying to execute the magic, and it's taking all this effort and you're just dying, right? So I want to talk today a little bit about how you can make that easier for yourself, how you can make some different choices, hopefully, and move on and have a little bit more enjoyment and a little bit less stress around the holidays, okay? All right. In the spirit of the clutter-free season, here's some ideas for simplifying. Let's talk about activities first. I know that the first thing that happens is that your calendar fills up, right? Like you have to go to work like a regular person, and you have, if you exercise or you are in a Bible study class or you come to the Meetup group every month or whatever, you have other things going on in your life, right? And suddenly you hit the holiday season and you have to do all that plus the 13 parties that you got invited to, right? There's a work event, and there's a million, if you have little kids, then there's the school play, and there's the church play, and there's the, all the little parties at school, and there's all sorts of stuff going on. So the first thing that happens is your calendar just sort of gets jam-packed, right? If that doesn't overwhelm you, you are a stronger, stouter person than me. When I start seeing all the blocks of my calendar fill in so that it's like jammed up, I was talking earlier about being in San Diego for a vacation and then coming home and having to work 12 days straight because all my clients were backed up. And as I'm sliding into the 12th day, I'm like, oh my God, I need some time off. And I think we start to have, as adults who are trying to manage all of everybody's fun, we start to have that overwhelmed feeling with all the activities on the calendar. So one of the things that you can do is choose activities as you're going through, choose activities that make sense to include a whole bunch of people instead of going for 5 different events and you're going to dinner with that person and you're going with 2 of your friends over here and 3 of your friends over here. Pick some event that circles everybody in so that you can have one event and see everybody and give up one night instead of giving up 5 nights. Does that make sense? Sometimes it's a little like, do I really want my yoga people to meet my work people? But trust that, you know, if they like you, they should be able to get along with each other for a night and it'll be okay. Mix those people together and see what kind of fun you can have. Everybody experiences holidays in their own way, and if you create a big event and invite a bunch of people, not everybody comes, please don't have a, how do I want to say this? Make space for that. Make space for somebody not being able to cope with your event or not being able to join the party. For my sister and I right now, Christmas is a little heavy and difficult because it's the anniversary of my mother's death, and my little sister is still really angry about it. So she's not looking forward to Christmas. And, you know, I know over time that our experience of the holiday will rehab and become something easier for us, but right now it's still a little hard. So I know that I could have a whole bunch of other things going on that's more fun, but I think I'm going to have to be very selective this year about what I do because I need to make space for the fact that I'm not really okay with the holiday yet, right? And there'll be other people in your life where that's true. They lost somebody, something's going on for them, and it's too overwhelming. So just make space for, I'm creating a big party and, you know, 20 people came and I invited 30. Don't be mad at the 10. And don't take it personally. It's probably not about you, right? It's probably about something completely unrelated. Don't overbook. This is the short way of saying your calendar does not expand in the holidays. It's not getting any bigger, right? So don't think that you can just keep cramming things in there, cram. You'll probably get invited to a bunch of stuff, but you can pick your most favorites, the ones that make you the most enthusiastic. And, you know, you may have to slot in, okay, the boss invited me, so I might have to go to the boss's party, maybe. Depends on how tied you feel to that stuff, but I would pick the ones that feel the most special. Don't pick all of them. Sometimes in our enthusiasm, we think, that's okay, yes. And then you get about to December 15th, and you're kind of fried, right? Like, it's like, I've got 10 more days to go. Oh my God, you're not done yet. So be kind to yourself in this way, and recognize that you're going to put a whole bunch of effort into a whole bunch of other things. You don't want to burn up all your, you know, recovery time and free time working on going to do stuff. So be selective, space them out, make yourself room so that you can slide through the holiday without burning up to a crisp, right? One thing you can do, I think we get tied to our traditions really sort of with anchors, and there's a whole lot of emotion about it. We have to do all the same things that we have always done since we were kids, and that involves, you know, we have to bake these certain cookies, and we have to hang this certain thing, and we have to go to this certain place, and we have to have this certain event, and this, we have to travel, yada, yada, and it's very all long and involved, right? But I think part of the way that you can make it easier for yourself and feel less pressured is if you plan an activity that nobody's ever done before. So that the tradition becomes, we're going to try something new every year, right? So you guys go off to some new restaurant, or you go see some new lights, or you go watch a new concert you've never done before, and say, oh, this year we're going to go to the Nutcracker, and this year we're going to go to fill in the blank. Do something new and different so that it feels fresh to everybody, and that burden of, oh my God, I have to make the Yule log again, have to make the gingerbread house again, you know, won't feel so heavy because it's a new idea and it's a new experience. If you add that in, I think it gives you a little breathing room. Everybody can go, okay, let's go try the blah, 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 and go off and do it and see how it goes. And, you know, if you hate it, it doesn't matter because next year you're going to do another fresh one, right? Another new thing. So make the tradition doing one thing new every year and see if it gives you a little relief in the middle somewhere. Okay, let's talk about gift giving. This is a topic that I've been talking about since the very beginning, right? Because everybody panics about gift giving, and our inner compulsive, you know, shopper comes out at Christmas time, right? When you can justify anything at Christmas somehow. If you can contain your spending all the rest of the year, then you get to that part of the year where it's like, but it's Christmas and it's for the kids or the grandkids. That's always a good one. It's for the grandkids, right? that justifies anything. And you can sort of release your inner shopper. And so we tend to go and madly buy. And you end up with, you're creating a bunch of stuff, you're spending too much money, and you're not being as thoughtful about it because you're just sort of in a race to get as many presents as you can for the grandkids. So one of the things you can do is change the kinds of things that you buy. Instead of buying stuff, which for little kids is immediately going to be clutter, and for big people, the things I think are just sort of gestures. Like, I'm buying a gift as a gesture to Anne, when I know full well that Anne does not need anything from me. Anne is perfectly, she has plenty what she wants. I don't need to add a candle to her house. I don't need to, put anything on her Christmas tree. She's lived her life, and she has plenty of stuff that she owns and doesn't need me to add to that pile, right? So instead of getting things for the people in your life, why don't you try getting experiences? This is one that I think is underutilized. And as a grown-up, you can appreciate, these are tickets to a concert. One of my clients is madly in love with Katy Perry? No. What's her name? Taylor Swift, that's right. She's madly in love with Taylor Swift. So her present for her birthday was, they went to, I guess the concert tour went through, and her husband bought tickets for the concert. And so that was an event that as a grown-up she could totally appreciate. She went, they had a blast, and guess what? There wasn't anything left over. Well, except for the souvenirs. But it's okay. She went and had a good time, and he spent the money on something that was really important to her, and it was an experience. So she has the memory, and she has little souvenirs, but she doesn't have a new piece of furniture or a whole bunch of clothes or something like that in her closet. One of my gifts one Christmas was a pair of craft optics glasses, which are, telescopic, so you can do close work. It's a crafty thing. And I told my family, I don't want anything for Christmas. Y'all pool your money and buy me a gift together. Because they were kind of expensive, right? And it wasn't something that I would spend the money on, but I was happy to say, hey, y'all can pool and buy, and I'll have the one gift, and I'll be thrilled to death. And they did that for my birthday, I guess, one year. I didn't need to come home from a trip to visit my family with a suitcase full of, tchotchkes, right? So I came home with glasses instead, and it was awesome. So if you can collectively corral your family and say, let's buy Dad a new computer. Let's buy Mom the new, she wants the souped up washing machine and Dad won't let her spend the money. Let's pool your money as a family and buy something that they really, really want. And as a grown-up, you can appreciate, man, I love having this computer. One year we bought my dad an iPad. He surfs all day long on the iPad. He loves it. So it's something that you can do as a shift in your behavior from buying a million little things for little kids to, as a grown-up, I can appreciate tickets to the concert, a lecture, I'm paying for a class. Pay for a class that they want to go to. When you do that, you want to make sure that you're actually certain that they want what you're buying. So you want to do your research and make sure you're buying something they're interested in. But it's a great way to provide them with something that isn't going to leave them with, things to put on a shelf somewhere later. You can also buy perishables, food and drink. There's lots of gifts where you feel like you got to take a hostess gift, or you have to go and you're visiting, like you're the added guest into a family unit, and so you feel like you need to show up with something for a present, but it doesn't have to be a candle. It doesn't have to be something solid. It can be something that the family can eat. You can take something that the family can drink, right? Think of those as I'm giving away to strangers. You don't want to stand in that place in the JCPenney or Macy's that, in the center aisle where they put the throwaway gifts that are under $20 or under $30 and it's some kind of tchotchke, right? And it's neutral and generic. Don't be buying that stuff. No. Go to Specs and buy a bottle of wine for somebody, or go and find some fabulous chocolate at the chocolate store and take somebody chocolates to serve their guests for the rest of the season. They will appreciate that a whole lot better than, oh, thank you, another candle, joy, right? One of the things that I wrote here too was, if you have a gardener in your life, maybe you can buy them some fancy kind of a plant. So black thumb, very, very black thumb, right? You can't give me a plant because I will kill it. But I have friends who are very into gardening and they buy specialty stuff. And if you ask them, they would tell you, I'd love to have the yada, yada, yada plant, or I would like to have seeds from, or I would like to have a certain kind of flower. You could ask about that and get guidance and then go get what they want as a present, right? And then they'll plant it somewhere and watch it grow. But not me, because I'll kill it. The other thing that you could do with gifts is focus on selecting a small group of very well thought out items instead of going for volume. And I think this is the number one problem for grandmas because they go for volume, right? I had a client there was one grandchild, right? It was the first grandchild, little girl, precious as could be. They gave her the flyers. Here's Target, here's Walmart, here's toys, here's the toy store. What's the big toy store? Toys R Us. And like they gave her 5 flyers, Christmas flyers, and said, pick what you want. So she went and circled everything in the flyers that she wanted, and the grandma bought it all. And the parents were like, whoa, are you serious? That was not the instruction. So I think grandmas like the idea, oh, it's for my grandma, it's for my granddaughter, it's for my grandson. I need, oh, just one more, just one more, just one more. Yeah, fight the instinct and concentrate on some spend your time trying to think out really well thought gifts for them instead of going for quick and dirty volume. Because in the end, you're going to make whoever gets them suffer. And the truth about little kids is that the more choices you give them, the more shut down they get anyway, right? Like their brain is it's not finished growing. They don't have a really great executive function yet. And you give them 15 items, and sure, they'll be screaming and thrilled about it, but they'll also be shutting down. They won't know what to do with them all because they don't have the capacity to. It's the same thing about dinner. If you say, what do you want for dinner to a little kid, you will never get an answer, right? But if you say, do you want chicken or hamburger, they will pick one of the two because that's a choice that they can make, right? Same thing with Christmas gifts. If you overwhelm them, they can't deal with them anyway. So just know that you'll get to keep giving them gifts later and rein it in, baby. And the same is true for grown-ups. Like, you don't have to give the grown-ups in your life a million presents either. If you just give them one really well thought out gift, it'll be appreciated and used, and then you can be done with your shopping. Another way to make it easy for yourself is to choose things that are easily wrapped or bagged. A lot of times we buy so I'm going to buy the thing that's 6 feet tall and 5 feet wide, and I'm going to have to wrap that in I guess that's more of a kid thing, that you end up with boxes that are super huge, but occasionally you can choose something that's small and portable, or you can choose something that's huge and monstrous. I would elect the small and portable one, right? If it's easier for you to bag and wrap up, it's going to be easier for you to transport, get it to them, deliver, manage. So unless there's a really great reason that you got to give them a kayak, go for the portable, small, easily wrapped item. One of the things that we do for newlyweds is it's now kind of a tradition that you give them money while they're doing the dance. When there's a dance thing they play, and you have to the best man and the maid of honor are dancing with the bride and groom, and you're slipping them money, right? Like people are slipping the money to collect to go on the honeymoon. I think it's this great way of, here we know you're going to go and you have a budget, but here let's ramp up your budget and we'll give you a chunk of money to go spend. And I think it'd be a great way to give people money for a specific thing, like if you know you're going to Venice this year, then maybe the family members can give you money to go on your trip. Say, here, go buy something cool on your trip. You're an adult, so you can wait until the trip comes around in the spring. I'm going on a cruise, so here we're going to give you money for the cruise. Instead of buying a gift, give them money with a specific purpose in mind. Here, this is for your fill in the blank, right? It's a way, a lot of people feel like money is impersonal, and everybody trading money at Christmas seems kind of silly, right? But if there's a specific purpose for it, and you know that they're going to go do something specific, I'm going to go on this trip, I'm going to go do this thing, I'm going to go take this class, here is some money to support that event. It'll feel a little bit more targeted, and money's easy to wrap. The other thing you can do is give donations in their name. But I hesitate to do this. I'm gonna put some parameters around this. It's all well and good to go, oh, I think I'm gonna support this, and I'll say it's in your name, and here's the gift, and the person's gonna be, okay, great, thanks, you made a donation in my name. I think it's better to do that for people that are already tied to a charity. If somebody in your family is, or somebody that you know is already going to volunteer their time, they're already showing up and working, they're already doing fundraising for a specific charity, you adding into that charity will feel very personal to them. So if they're already tied to it anyway, then saying, I'm going to give money to your favorite charity will be a gift that they can appreciate in a personal way. Does that make sense? One of my friends works for an organization that makes school lunches for preschoolers. And she volunteers there like 4 days a week. So for me to give money to that organization I did it for her birthday, and it was very meaningful to her. I think she appreciated it because she has a big investment in that charity, right? So it was a way for me to give her something. She didn't need my tchotchkes either, but I could give money to something that was important to her. And I think that's a way to do the donation thing. If you really think somebody has an investment, then you can make a donation into where they're tied. The other place I would do donations is, like somebody that you know really doesn't need the money. Somebody who is, how do I think about that? Like somebody who is very successful, throwing a big party, you're showing up, you think you have to bring a gift. If you made a donation in that person's name because you certainly didn't need to add to their stuff, that might be a way to do donations as well. See what I'm saying? Some people in your life, it's more important for you to give them the gift card from Target or to buy them something that their kids need or something that they're, somebody that their family needs. But for people that aren't in that way, adding stuff to somebody who is clearly abundant and has everything that they need is kind of unnecessary. So a donation in that instance would be a better choice, I think. Okay, let's talk about decorating. How many of you guys still decorate a lot for the holidays? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So I think that decorating is something that you do when you have little kids, right? And you go all out and you make a big splash all over the house and you do the trees and everybody blows out for little kids. And then as they get older and you get older, that becomes more and more of a burden, right? It gets a little bit harder. And then by the time they go off to the college, you're like, okay, I'm just pulling out the tree. I'm not going to do all that hoo-ha, right? So my little sister is still, the kids are in high school, so they're still doing a whole lot of decorating. Clearly they're the center of the Christmas universe in our family right now. But there's going to be a place where the kids go off and get married and whatever. And I'm guessing that my brother-in-law is not going to want to climb up on the ladder and put the big wreath at the top of the house anymore. Like there's going to be some point where he's going to be like, yeah, we're hiring that out to somebody else to come and hang it up, right? Decorating is definitely a place where you can make space in your calendar, you can make space in your overloaded brain, you can pare it back. So go through that list of all of the things that you put out, and maybe you don't want to put all of them out. Maybe you want to put your most favorite ones. Some people do things like the train. They have the little train and all the little village and everything. Maybe you don't want to set up the whole village. Maybe you only want to set up half the village. Or maybe this year it's time to skip the village because nobody cares about the village anymore. I have a client who totally into the village. So it all comes out, she sets it all up, and at the end, after the holidays, I'm in there with her putting it all back together. We're putting it all away again. But that's one that it would be at the top of her list. If she was going to pare down, she'd pare down other things. She wants the village out, right? So go through your decorating have-tos and see if they're all still have-tos anymore. There's probably things at the top of the list that are your favorites, right? And the not favorites can maybe slide off for a year and see if anybody has a cow. Likely, they won't, and it's one less thing that you have to put up and clean up, right? The other thing is that you can get to the place where you can hire them out, right? If you're desperate to have 5 trees in the house and you want them all put up, maybe it's too much for you, but maybe you're at a place where you're willing to hire that kind of stuff out, right? You have to love Christmas a lot to put up 5 trees. But, people do that. I'm not that person. If you are, maybe you only want to put up 3 trees instead of 5, right? You can still have multiple trees, but maybe it won't be so hard. You get the point, right? I'm not saying kill the decorating. I'm saying look at the whole of the decorating and let's see where you can shave corners to make your workload less and your feeling of overburden disappear. Okay? Don't add anything new. One of my clients, when she and her husband retired, they were selling their house and moving away. And so I went up and we worked in the garage. We had to clear out the garage. It had not been cleared out for 30 years. And half of it was tax returns, and the other half of it was Christmas. Completely, like all of these shelves all on one side, and it had Christmas all up and down. And every year she was finding more cute Christmas things in the store and bringing it home and adding it to the Christmas pile. And when we got to the end, at her retirement age, when Christmas and the kids were grown and married and had kids of their own, there was the pile of Christmas that she and her husband were going to have to move across the country to their new house. And we really had to go through and pull that down. But the behavior that she had to change was, they're putting all the cute stuff out at Christmas time to get you to buy it all, and gee, maybe you shouldn't take any of it home, right? If you have been buying Christmas for a long time, you should shop at your own store first, right? Go through and look at the stuff that you have already, pull it all out, see how much of it is still you, retire things, and find the things that you bought 2 years ago that you forgot you bought, because I know that there's going to be some in there. When we were doing that garage, oh, I forgot I got that. Oh, look, isn't that so cute? Oh, I forgot that was 5 years ago. That was 2 years ago. So there's going to be stuff in there that you've long since forgotten about, right? And you can shop at your own store for a year and see how it goes. This is particularly true with wrapping paper. It's not just you, right? My mother had a vast collection of wrapping paper. And part of it was, when the kids are little, then they do that fundraising thing where they sell wrapping paper to raise money, right? Every grandmother buys as much as she possibly can stand to buy, right? And so you end up with a lot of wrapping paper. And, despite me coming and wrapping all of my gifts at her house and her wrapping all her gifts at her house, there was, I made her, the last 3 years of her life, I didn't let her buy any more wrapping paper. No, we're using this paper up. And it didn't even look like we made a dent. We used reams of paper and we barely made a dent in it. So clearly this is a place where you can shop at your own store, go dig all the stuff out and use the wrapping paper that you have. If you're tempted to buy new, say, no, Gayle said, shop at my own store. If you get to the end of the Christmas season and you feel like, oh, gee, I ran out of paper, then you can say, woohoo, I used up 2 rolls, I can buy another one next year, right? I can go to the sale, right? I can go to the half-off sale, buy it on sale. That's one of the places, wrapping, gift wrapping, bows, paper, you put it in a bag, and the bag, they give you the bag back, right? You go to Christmas and you got rid of all the bags. And then all your presents come and you get a whole new set of bags back, right? It's just a constant trade of paper. So whatever you can do to not add, not buy, use what you've got, the better. Because that is way more, like when all those rolls get rolled out, it's to, you know, Hawaii and back. It's a lot of paper. And some of the rolls are like 300 feet or something. I mean, you buy the big rolls and they're a massive amount of paper. So if you get to the place where you have paper that you would never use, like here's the paper that we use for the little boys when they're little, and now we have no little boys in the family and this paper is never going to get used again. It's time to donate that away. There's always some school, there's always some project, there's always some charity drive, there are Toys for Tots, there's always some place for that wrapping paper to go for somebody else to use it, right? Get rid of the stuff that you would never use, don't add any more, shop your own store, okay? That will at least make cleanup after wrapping less painful. And it'll be easier for you to make your choices, right? Because if you only have 6 rolls instead of 150 rolls, you'll wrap faster. you can only make 6 choices, right? Okay. The last thing I'm going to say about this is, I think this is a perfect season where the professionals go all out. And there are plenty of holiday decorations for you to see and experience that don't involve you doing any work, right? So you can go to, there's always a big display at a church, there's always a big display in the office buildings downtown, on the plazas, there's a million places, schools, shopping centers, fill in the blank. Zoo lights, right? There's a million places where you can go where the professionals got paid to hang the stuff, and you can enjoy some really fabulousness, and it requires no work on your part, right? Even if you went every day to look at somebody else's Christmas somewhere, their display, you can sit and have coffee in front of the, fabulous tree or whatever, and enjoy it. Restaurants, even restaurants blow out, right? They put all their Christmas decorations up and make everything look beautiful. So if you are feeling, decorations deficient, you can go look at something that the professionals did and not have to do any work yourself. And I think that's a way for you to take some of the load off. We don't want to decorate all night long, and we don't want to be drowning in a list of to-dos that's 400 miles long because it's the holidays. So anything that you can do to take off that list and make your load lighter will be easier for you to enjoy the holiday with the family, right? Okay, who has questions? Yes, sir.
My wife's in charge of decorating. She decorates every holiday. We're not collecting any more stuff, but I can't get her to pare back on the stuff she puts out, particularly for Christmas. So everything comes out.
So she likes doing it?
She likes doing it, but she's getting stressed.
Right, it's getting hard?
Yes.
Okay, so I would have a conversation with her that is specifically about...
Already been done.
Okay. And what does she say?
She just ignores me, and then she does it again. And then she complains about it.
And then she complains, right? Okay. So, do you guys have kids?
No. So it's just us. That's the worst thing.
Yeah, see, she's setting it up for herself.
Yeah.
Well, and it may be part of how she experiences the holidays, like that for her transforms the magic to put it all out, and that's how she experiences it. You might suggest that she hold off on putting this one out until next week, or you might try to push some small piece of it down the calendar a little bit and see if it can sort of slide by without, she runs out of time some. You might also bring in, because you've probably been talking about this for a long time, so you might want to bring in a third party to have that conversation with her, like one of her girlfriends. Suggest to her that she doesn't need to put it all out, it'll be okay, and let her hear it from somebody that's not invested in the house. She might hear it from one of her friends better than she'll hear it from you right now, particularly since you've already talked about it. Yeah. At some point, she'll surrender us too if it's really stressing her out. You just don't want to suffer with her while she gets used to the idea of letting it go. So try one of her friends and see if one of her friends will, coach her a little bit gently about not being as stressed about it. It might work. she'd have to be willing to hire somebody. For me to come and talk to her, she'd have to be willing to, it's a whole different ballgame.
She doesn't even know where all the stuff is, so that's why it's a little hard to say, hold off on certain stuff, because she just discovers stuff, and then she'll find that halfway through the season, she's forgotten stuff, so that gets added.
Oh,
So she doesn't, she might use you for organizing,
right.
so she can actually find it and know what's where.
Well, and that would help too. A lot of times people lose track of, you don't realize how much you have because you've been stuffing it like over a decade. Every new Christmas, you go find another place to squirrel away more Christmas stuff, and then you don't remember where it all is, and you buy things 5 years from now that you've also bought this year, and it starts to multiply. So sometimes when I pull all the Christmas out at once, like, okay, where's all the Christmas? And we go grab it all and pull it all out, and then it's sort of like, wow, I had no idea there was so much in there. Because we can squirrel it away into little hidey holes in the house, you don't really have a good sense of the full volume until you extract it all. And that might, if she would be open to that, that might be a solution. I'll come and, help her pull it all out. Or whichever organizer. And a lot of times it helps when you you can do that after the fact as well. Like when it's time to put it all away. That's a great decision point, right? Because you've sort of touched it all at that point to put it all out. And you can say, yeah, I really didn't like this year. Well, okay, then now, instead of putting it away, let's donate it away. Like this, let's get it out of the house while you're staring at it and you didn't like it. Or it didn't work or whatever. So you can sort of try to edit it up front, and then you can try to edit it in the packing up process. That might help too. But enroll her friends in the conversation, and,
Yeah, but
stress relief.
But I think the thing that might work best is doing it afterward.
Yeah, when it's time to pack it up.
After it's.
When you're sick of it.
Yeah, when you're sick of it, and it's a big burden to put it all up. If she's been putting it out slowly over time, and then you want to try to put it all up, it's like,
putting it back is not fun.
Right, putting it back sucks. Yes. Okay, who else? What other organizing things do you have going on today?
I have another question.
Sure.
It's not a problem anymore, but it was a problem for my mother for years. Her grandkids always told her what they wanted, and between the time she bought it and Christmas, they changed their mind.
Oh.
And so they wouldn't play with it, and their mother would throw it away.
That's no good. That's no good. Well, and this is why I think you have to be really careful about kids, because they think today they want object A, and they're going to forget about it halfway to Christmas. As they get older, they're going to remember more, and they're going to be more specific. I want a yada yada shirt in a certain color and a certain size, whatever. They'll be more directive about it. My teenage niece is very clear what she wants, and she circles it, and she she can make the list, and we have to shop off the list. And it's good because then she likes it, and I know it's not going in the trash. But yeah, that's the thing about shopping for little kids in particular. They,
She only knew about it because when their birthdays would come around, they'd ask for the same thing. And she'd ask why, and they'd say, my mom threw it away.
Ah, that's no good. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Grandmas, edit. Do not give in to your inner desire to give all things to your grandkids. You will have many opportunities to do this. Stop. Stop shopping now. What else? Who has a question today?
Well, I just have a comment, with my parents, and they downsized to, they're in a 2-bedroom townhome, and, they don't need any more stuff. I mean, we always do consumables, like my dad just had a birthday, so I did Omaha steaks, because I know that they enjoy them, and, they're going to be gone after a few weeks, they will be gone, so.
Right, we'll have eaten them all.
Yeah, it's always a good. And it's a treat, they won't buy them.
They won't buy that for themselves, exactly. I think that's one thing to do as a gift as well. And if you know that there's something that someone wants, but they're not willing to buy it for themselves, it's a perfect thing to do for a gift. If they won't give themselves that luxury, that's a gift that you can give them. Do something that would be luxurious for them. One of my favorite gifts that I ever got from my mom was a subscription to Massage Envy. And she paid for it until she passed, and now I just took it over. But every time I go, I think about her, And it's something that I really enjoy. And clearly, I'm not going home from the massage envy with anything except, lotion and relaxed. But that's like a really great, as a grown-up, I can totally appreciate that experience. It was a wonderful gift. I really, really loved it. And you can too. And what a great idea to send them. I like the idea of sending them steaks. That's a good one. And they have all those, get the fruit of the year, right? And they send a box of fruit. Now don't do that to a single person because they won't be able to eat it all. But you could send it to a couple. And then there's 2 people eating the pears and the apples and the whatever. And it would be a lovely gift to have. And then it goes away, right? Exactly. What else? Are you guys done for the day? Are you holidayed out? Okay, well then I will wrap it up for today. Thank you so much, and I hope to see everybody real soon. We'll be back in December. Bye.